Camera's on, mic's on, so if you want to yell at me, just remember it's being recorded for my safety. No, it's not really. It's for the session, so if anyone who's not here, they can have access to it. I'm going to just put this in and then have a picture-in-picture, so they'll see this slide, and maybe just in the corner, they'll see what we've spoke about, basically. Obviously not 30 people here, all right, but that's fine. I've done this, I did this at the U12 ID camp on Monday, and a little bit with the Rex parents before their camp that started on Monday, and so far it's been pretty well received. Now that said, I was dealing with parents who have not been in the provincial program ever, so they don't know any better, most of them. So it's going to be interesting to see, get some feedback from you guys tonight as well, okay? I will say it will probably last about anywhere between 40, 50 minutes, depending on the questions you have at the end, okay? The real reason for this is we're going to do this presentation at the tryouts anyway. So it's not that we just want to give you prior warning, because one of the things that we always get criticized with feedback, and rightly so, is we're not overly the most transparent organization in terms of communication. So it's something we want to recognize and obviously work towards. So this is kind of us trying to fix that gap within our system, okay? So I'm going to get into, if you can hold your questions till either I ask or the very end, and then we can go back to some of it, okay? I'm going to try and give you as much as I can. You may feel a little bit overloaded with information when you're finished. Just remember that you're going to get access to it via YouTube anyway. So if there's anything that you missed, you can go back and then obviously review it. Seats at the front, guys. Or middle row. So there's going to be obviously, the majority is around the provincial program and just some of the changes for next season, and then a little bit how it links into the Excel program, because some of you have aspirations, I'm sure, for your son or daughter to get into that stream anyway, okay? So the presentation purpose is to give you an overview of the program and the changes and why we've done it, and the process that we did it, and then an overview of the Excel pathway, okay? I'm doing the presentation more so because there's nobody in the seat still. We're still trying to headhunt for that person who runs this and will own the performance side of soccer. In the meantime, I'm going to be the punching dartboard, or whatever you want to call it, okay? So feel free. But one of the things, as I said, the key to brand success are self-definition, transparency, authenticity, and accountability. We've not always done it very well, okay? And we know that. We do know that. We've had feedback with coaches who've said the same thing about us. We've heard it from parents. We've even heard it from players, okay? So we're very self-aware of what we can improve on. So what is the purpose? What is the end goal of the provincial program? Now, it depends on who you ask. It really does. But we as an association, we have to start being a little bit more business minded with what we do. We can't just keep doing things because we've done it that way. It's not a progressive mindset. So we're asking ourselves critically, what is the purpose of the program? The purpose of the program is a showcase team. Okay, it's players of like, same ability, go and travel against other kids of ability, and hopefully they get in a shop window for a scholarship or a university. That's the end goal for the kids. Okay, and we'll get into some of the other myths of what the provincial program is considered. Okay, it's a pathway to demonstrate as well the potential of the athlete to go from the stage 4 into stage 4.5, which is the Excel stream. So are you good enough? Are you showing that you're competent enough to maybe be challenged to go into the next tier? Okay. So how did the changes occur? Well, first of all, if you've not seen it, we have a strategic direction. That is now becoming a plan. So the technical department have a plan around some of the strategic ideas. If you haven't read it, it's already available on the Soccer Nova Scotia website. Okay, and these are the questions we're asking. What's the purpose of the provincial program? What resources are we spending on the provincial program? I'm not going to go into figures, but there was a massive, large chunk of money, not only out of your pocket because of where you travelled, but a huge amount of money that was subsidised as well from the greater membership of Nova Scotia. And there's only 0.9% of our membership numbers are actually in the provincial program. Okay. We had some focus groups with parents. Okay, so people that have had numerous years of experience with the program from HRM and from a rural perspective to get their input. We talked about, what is the value of the program? Okay, what is the end goal? What do you want? What do you like about it? We also looked at what was the value of the club system. Does the club system have a part to play in the big picture planning for the province? Okay. Welcome. We had a survey with current regional and club technical leaders. So, what is the impact as the professionals within their establishment? What is the impact of the provincial program within their club programming? Now, you might say, well, what impact is there at all? There's actually multiple impacts. The provincial program takes a building away from the greater audience, particularly in HRM, 2 weekends every month. So if you can think about the players that maybe that we're not always think about, the minis, the U14 or U15B player, the house player. You as parents, as well as anyone, you want consistency with your programming. You want to know when they train, when they play, so you can plan your lives and your other children and other obligations around it. It's the same with the Bs, the other kids and other parents and even senior players that play. Because the senior league, because the provincial program operates the way it does, because of our weather, that actual experience for those players is actually compromised for 0.9% of players, because we adversely affect everybody. So we want to figure out, why is player registration going down? Well, most of the time when we talk to people, it's like, I ain't paying $500 when I have absolutely no idea when my child's going to play. I can't schedule my life and my routine around that. And you all probably experienced that one time or another. Okay? So for club leaders, it does hurt them. They can't take their team, even if you're a AA, AAA team. There's only 5 or 6 players that may be on the provincial program. The rest are club players. They never get to travel. That's a big thing, that they don't get to travel because you guys get taxed from the provincial program. There's only so many dollars that can go around. So we're not actually impacting as many kids as we actually hope we can do. So that's something that we've been considering too. Again, their value of the provincial program. Some will say that it's no better than what they can offer. Some will say and admit it's way better than what they can offer. And then there's the long-term planning, and that's based on our relationship with Canada Soccer. The Director of Development for the country, Jason DeVos, has done a lot of work, good work as well in the short period that he's been in charge of the country. But he's working with provinces like ours to try and help us impact the club environment so that, as I said, more players are being impacted. So we are looking at a big picture of having a provincial league that has standards that can maybe emulate some of the things that we have done in the past with the provincial program, so that more kids are getting access to those services, not just that small, tiny elite few. Ooh, did I miss one? No, I didn't. Okay. So this is the new Canada Soccer pathway. It is going to change. It's going to be jazzed up once the marketing department of Canada Soccer actually have their hands on it. But this was just done something for Jason. It does look a bit different from some of the things you've seen in the past. Just as an idea, active start, fundamental, learning to train. Okay. Then we have Soccer for Life. Now we recognise there are two different tiers in Soccer for Life. In the past, they're always thrown in as one. So you've got 7-a-side women's, for example. They're not going to be the same as, say, I don't know, a U15 AA or a U15 AAA. Now, a U15 AA or a AA player and a AAA player is not in the performance stream, guys. It can't be. You don't train enough. You don't have any sports science. It's not in the performance. They're good players, but we're not creating the environment around your players yet for it to really be deemed as performance at club. Some clubs do a great job, don't get me wrong, really pushing the bar early. Some need some work and support. So there's competitive and there's really community. And right now, our tier 1, if you want to call it, our NSSL division is living in here. Okay? And then we have other programs, our Bs are living over here. Our aim, our big picture aim, is to get our club, that environment, the NSSL environment, into here. So it's true performance. Okay? Lots of work to be done on that. Lots of conversations. Lots of hurdles. I'm sure we're going to fall over many times. But because we don't truly have that right now, this bit here is the provincial program, and that fills a gap for us. Okay? That fills a gap. Then our 4.5 is where our Excel players live. Okay? Oh, don't want to skip that one. So here are some dates for you. November 11th and 12th, will be for the U13 and 14 boys and girls. This has just been confirmed to me that it's not going to be at Mainline Common, it is actually going to be at Burnside. Okay, so that will be amended before the PowerPoint goes out. Don't worry, as I said, you will have access. Tryout fee is going to be the same, and that's roughly the player numbers that we're going to be inviting to those tryouts. Okay, you'll see that obviously the younger they are, the more we try to capture. The older they are, we obviously start to make it a little bit more specific. Okay. Can you believe that? Weekend dates already in August. When you're in the provincial program, if you managed to turn up, that's how you stayed in the program, okay? Because you somehow found out when the program was. Listen, we know it was tough. It wasn't always clear. These dates, I have been told, as I spoke to my gaffer today, that they've been locked in with the facilities. Listen, things do change because of whatever reasons. So if they are subject to change, you will get abundance of notice. It's not going to be a last minute thing. But those are the dates. So you've got a weekend in January, you've got a weekend for the olders and the youngers, and all the way through to April. Okay? So we're committed, so you can plan your lives. If you have other multi-sport commitments, you can start to have an idea immediately. Can I even commit to this program? Well, maybe I can because I now know the dates, whereas before, maybe some families weren't quite sure. Okay. How much is it going to cost? The big question. It's going to cost $425. You get 2 jerseys, a white and a blue. You'll notice that I'm not wearing Umbro. We have moved to Adidas. It's something that we're going to be slowly starting to do quite quickly now. Don't want to go into the reasons why that has happened, but that has happened. And we're roughly going to take those numbers. So between the ages of 13 and 14, we're going to take 60 players in the boys, 60 players in the girls total. Same, but between 15 and 17. The idea is in each division and gender, there will be 4 teams created. So 13s will play with 14s, 15s will play with 17s. It will be balanced. Okay, it will be done internally through the coaches. And what we want to do is we actually want to create a mini 11-a-side program, league, within the provincial program structure. There's a huge gap that we have for our kids that they don't play 11-a-side soccer or enough 11-a-side soccer in the winter periods. I'm not going to lie to you, our overall goal is to make sure that clubs play 11-a-side for at least 9 to 10 months of the year. All right, look at maybe reshuffling our season length, because that's the game. If we are serious as parents and as an association for our kids to make the jump to whether it's a professional environment, a national team environment, good schools with good scholarships, you can't have your main or the longest period of your season be 7-a-side. You can. All right? Now, anyone who's taken a coaching course, will tell you, well, small-sided games help with player development, so surely playing 7-a-side helps. It does when your objective is a learning objective. Maybe we're trying to swing the ball from left to right. That's the objective. We're going to do a small-sided game. Players get more touches. The coach can stop the session, can guide the learning. But when you're playing small-sided games and it's competition is the objective, then winning is the objective, you cut corners to win a game of 7-a-side quite easily. And it wasn't until we put offsides in that even players like senior players, the top Premier men, the ball would be in one goal mouth and there'd be a player stood in the opposite 18-yard box, or it's not even 18 because it's 7-a-side, offside by at least 20, 30 yards, just waiting there, so when the ball got it, no offsides, ball in the back of the net, goal. They're just taking advantage of the system. We hope we fixed that a little bit, but it still wasn't right. Okay? So that's some of the reasons why. There's going to be a physio and medical expert every game, so players have access in case they have injuries. That's not something we've always had unless you're at Atlantics. Going to keep going. We don't just want them going out there and playing them, because what they're going to achieve. Yeah, we know the game's the teacher, but not just randomly going out there and playing. We want to have a game model and a curriculum that's related to the individual, but also to the grouping and the team itself. That's aligned with what we want to do at Whitecaps and also aligned with what we want to do with the Canada Rex program, okay? So that's already been designed. This top one, I know you can't read it unless you've got supervision, all right? But those are moments of the game that a coach might use as objectives for the 11-a-side match. We're going to focus on that and that. And I'll tell you how they're going to help them with the learning on that in a moment. And these would be individual competencies that are very familiar to those people that have been around the U12 program. There's going to be player profiles. Now, some of your children have probably been played 2-3 positions already. The reason is we're not quite sure where their position is. They may end up getting 2 or 3 profiles handed to them. They can print that off, put it on the bedroom wall if they want. And they can start to see what, for example, a number 10 looks like from a technical, from a tactical, character, and physically. So if there are any gaps in their game, which hopefully they'll get some feedback from their coaches, they can start to look at what it is related to their profile. Canada Soccer and Vancouver Whitecaps are picking players based on profile. Do you fit a profile? Okay, we might need a number 10 profile. Do you have any players in your province that can do this effectively to a competent level? Yes, we do. Or, you know what, we have someone who's playing centre back, but could probably fit that. They meet those things. Maybe we've got them playing in the wrong position. And we start to use that as our guidance as well. We've never had that. Okay, the Rex camp is going on right now, and that's the conversation they're having around profiles of players. So there'll be one for everyone, including the goalkeeper. Okay.
If there was an athlete that aspired to a specific position, are those profiles, like the ideal profile, if you will, do they exist that athlete can then use as a target to try and achieve?
Yeah, well, we'll make them available to everybody, the profiles.
They don't exist today, but they could.
They can exist right now.
Okay.
Right now, we'll make them available. And the club should use them too.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, the club should do it as well, because it ultimately is a pathway.
Yeah.
You know, your objective is to get into certain levels within your club. Can you be one of the provincial few, and then can you be the Excel few? The aim of the game right now for, you know, you as parents, your players, is to keep moving up to the next step. Okay? So yeah, they'll be readily available. So this is how we're going to start to help them learn. Why are the weekends going away? Why the weekend? Why are the training sessions within the weekend going away? I'll tell you why. Player development does not occur on one weekend a month. You're kidding yourself if you firmly believe that it is. I'm not saying they're not challenged. I'm not saying they're not stretched. I'm not saying that they're not learning new concepts that they can tell you about. That's happening. But true development of being able to find that solution to the problem that they're faced in the game will only come autonomously, cognitively, when they have repetition of that environment all the time. You can't do it otherwise. If that was the case, pros would train once a week. They don't. Youth academies would train once a week. They don't. Okay, so learning is very slow, if not, you know, and I can tell you this, myself and my colleague Andrew and Lindsay, I think your boy came through when me and Andrew were doing the 13s. We were very meticulous. We planned. We did classroom sessions. We had objectives. They would meet those objectives. And then next week, the next time we saw them in a month, poof, it's gone. And we'd say to them, we're going to give you pieces to a large jigsaw puzzle. We're hoping by the end of the program you'll have filled the whole puzzle together. And then they wouldn't. And believe it or not, we'd get frustrated. How can they have forgotten this? And it wasn't really until we really, you know, start speaking to much smarter people than me who understand development, cognitive development, and really how learning occurs and how the fact is, you know, so non-linear, and the pedagogy of learning and all that kind of theory, that we realize that we're actually using a lot of resources and a lot of time and a lot of money, and we're actually not achieving what we think we're achieving. Our objective is not actually accurate. So how can we affect them more? Well, what we want to do is we want to record every single game they play. Sometimes that's happened. Maybe if you've been with a coach that's really diligent, wants to do that. Sometimes it may never happen. We want all of those games to go through VidSwap. If you've heard of VidSwap, my phone, which I have on me all the time, just in case my wife gives birth, is on me. Oh, 5 messages. No, I'm okay. All right? Yeah. There's an app. We know our kids, my kids, who's 3.5, and the next one that's coming, all right, apparently they're Generation Z. I learned that by doing some homework, okay? But they're technologically very advanced, and they learn actually from having these products. We just don't tap into it enough. So the games will go into the system. It will be coded within about 8 hours, and it will be pushed down to your child. And your child can watch it on a computer, they can watch it on an iPad, they can watch it on a phone. They can watch the game and they can watch specific moments of the game. When a goal happened, when there was a free kick, when there was a corner. They can target things, they can target their clips. What I would like, and what the idea, we're going to have an orientation for our coaches, is that our coaches, based on the objectives that I showed you earlier, that they set forth for that game, will use the video to push down specific moments related to that moment, maybe to the individual, maybe it's an individual moment, maybe it's a collective group, maybe it's the team, so that the user, the learner, the athlete can learn outside of the provincial weekend. They can actually self-reflect and start to self-analyze themselves through support through the coach. Okay? So learning is actually occurring away from the provincial program as well. Okay? There would always be a pre-game classroom session, about 90 minutes, where maybe the coach goes over the weekend last they had them, or maybe it was Sunday from Saturday, and we look at our objective. Did we meet our objective? Maybe give them some group work to figure out what they saw, and they can start, interacting. I saw that in that 30-second clip, and then we asked the players. Maybe there's a new objective, and then there's video based on when we did it in the game and they didn't realize they did it. Do they understand the cues and triggers? Why did you make that decision? What did you see? Tell your friends what you saw, and then the kids can start to learn the real details of tactical 11-a-side soccer. So it's a different type of trying to help the players versus just going on the pitch. All right. Some coaches like to tell players what they want them to do. Some players like to use question and answer. Both can be effective in different ways. But we want the player to own their learning. Okay. Feedback. You probably receive feedback from Matt or myself. We've been trying to pull it out of the coaches. But what use is it when the program's finished? And we don't want that to occur anymore. So after the first 4 games, there'd be a feedback form given to the player. It might relate to their profile. You're missing these bits. You're doing this really well. After another 4 games, there'd be another one. As the players are out on the pitch, the coach isn't just going to sit there on the bench. We are allowing the coaches to go out onto the pitch and coach, as you've seen in the past. There will be a referee, there will be linesmen. We will keep score. We're going to make it competitive, but the coach is still there to support the players. Okay, because some players might need that support. Some might not. Some just give me an objective, I'll discover it and I'll make mistakes, but eventually I'll find the solution. Others might simply need that support. So the coach, if there's a right back and you're on the left side of the pitch, we want that coach to be able to go over there and help them. Okay? That's a typical weekend example. So if you're coming all the way from South Shore, Cape Breton, you're not coming literally for 2 games and going home. You are there for an extended period of time. You're having a classroom before your game. We're giving the kids, believe it or not, time to warm up their body for physical competition, which, let's be honest, if it's really performance, you are getting warm-up time. As they get older, their bodies aren't able just to switch on immediately. So there will be warm-up time. We want to make it an event. We want music in the buildings, as they're warming up. We want you guys as spectators to get comfortable, to be excited to watch this. Okay? Then they'll kick off. After the game, the coach might say a few words, but really all they should be saying is well done, and we'll talk about it tomorrow because we've got the time to do it. Okay? Do you like that? It's pretty good, eh? I keep forgetting to press those because they move. So what happens then after April? Well, we've got to go back to our objective. Our objective is it's a showcase team. Our objective is to get kids in the window and hopefully onto further opportunities. So we'll select the best 18 players from their age group. So there'd have been 4 coaches. Let's use the 13s and 14s as an example. Boys, for example. There'd be 4 coaches leading those teams. One of them, or 2 of them will come together. One will already know who's the head coach, who's the assistant, vice versa. One will be 13s, one will be 14s. They'll pick the best 18 players. They'll do it as a group. They'll talk about players. They'll probably do it every single weekend just so that they're always tracking them. And there'll be a traditional training weekend. I can't guarantee which one's going to be which, and I'll tell you why in a moment, because if this is early, then the Atlantics, then they would obviously train earlier. But until we find that showcase opportunity, I can't tell you. But those are the dates we're committing to. Okay. As before, we'll play an age group down, playing up. We're going to try and play against an older group, unless you're the 13 team that's of age. The 13 advanced team will play against the 14s. We still want to do that. Again, you've probably experienced it this year. You can agree or disagree. It was a massive success from somebody that watched all the games from my office. They were challenged, they were stretched, they were put way more out of their comfort zone than they've ever been before. Don't get me wrong, winning is awesome. I love winning, but we don't learn a lot from our experiences sometimes at Atlantics, and we wanted to, and we learned. Okay, and that's important to us. And the 16s and 17s, they'll go and have an attend a showcase opportunity. There's potentially one that Newfoundland are hosting this year, but until we get confirmation, we're not sure. We're not sure. Do the girls continue to go to Florida, for example? Because we seem to have a ton of girls that seem to get picked up by Jacksonville and those schools. If it's working, maybe we do that every year. I don't know. The boys is a trickier one. You know, NCAA schools aren't as quick to throw scholarships to boys because Canadians cost them a lot of money. All right, and in the US schools, soccer doesn't exactly get the same money that the other sports get, so it's a bit more sensitive. So maybe it's not ideal going to a US showcase. Maybe it is keeping them in Canada and doing a CIS, because that's reality, is where their scholarship's going to come from. Okay, so these are the questions we're asking ourselves versus just, you know, asking for your money and sending you to Vancouver. So as I said, we're going to go with Adidas. We're trying to take some of the admin headache away. You'll get the 2 jerseys, shorts and socks with your fee. But if you want additional stuff, don't call the office. There's going to be a website. You go on. If you want 15 jerseys and 20 shorts, you order them yourself. They'll come to your door. Okay? We don't want to deal through any more boxes and trying to figure out whose sizes is whose. We'll do it once and that's it. It's on you. Okay? So that's totally on you. Bags will be available. We've spoken to them, okay? They're going to be Adidas bags, so hopefully they won't rip after a week, okay? You will need a tracksuit. You will need a new one. I know some people recycle theirs because it was Umbro. We are moving. I'm sorry about that cost. We've been thinking about cost the whole time we did this. We want to keep it sensitive. That's why we won't be doing trips to Montreal and Vancouver. It's just too expensive, okay? This is a reason why I've got this slide up here. The Wednesday nights will not happen in HRM, period. In rural Nova Scotia, they might occur if the regional TD decides it's worthwhile. They might have field time available to them. I told you before, we want field time to be available so that we can improve the club environment. Not just our kids' age, but all kids' age. But what we do want to try is we're trying to push towards 11-a-side in the winter. And we think this is an idea that could go somewhere. So it's an optional registration, but we want to have a cup, and we're going to start with these 2 age groups, and we might even do 13 this year if we've got the field time available. We have to wait and see what our allocation's like. But what it is they'll play in a little cup. So they'll play 7-a-side in the league, but there'll be an opportunity for maybe a Friday night where they'll play in an 11-a-side competition for their club. So the clubs start to feel and understand that, you know, 11-a-side might be achievable in the winter months as well. Some are a little bit apprehensive about it right now. The majority want it, but some are not sure. We're in negotiations with Eastlink. It's not been done. Probably shouldn't have it on this slide, but I'm hopeful, so I'm going to put it on there. And what we want is we want the games to be broadcasted, so that youth players are on the TV, so grandma and granddad can watch the little one. Okay, so that's something that we're aiming for, and that kind of will replace the Wednesday time, but it will be for more players, and hopefully that more players can experience 11-a-side.
So that's a go, or that's a maybe?
The cup will go, whether Eastlink are on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are some of the concerns that were given to me in the registration form. All legitimate. Everyone comes with their own perception. So how do these changes improve or assist player development? As I told you, this is the key thing to remember. Performance athletes, which is what our players are, at 12 to 16, they average between 12 to 16 hours a week in soccer developed countries. Okay? We need to make sure that our club environment gets better, because they're the ones who are going to give the kids the contact hours. It can't be the Provincial Association. We have 2 technical staff members right now. It's not possible. Okay? I told you the Generation Z. So how is 11-a-side going to support the player development versus training? So it's a bigger picture of a strategic outlook on improving the game for all members. All right, we've known that. When critically analysing the programme and gaps, all right, we saw there's a lack of 11-a-side. Limited number of clubs are using technology right now within their club system. Not because they're negligent. A, they can't afford it, and B, they don't have maybe the manpower just yet. All right, maybe they don't even know how to. What products are available to us? How can we use it? How can we impact our kids? So we're going to use it as an opportunity to hopefully bring club coaches in and club leaders and show them some of the products that are available and how they don't have to go to the same extreme that we're going to try and use, but they can start to take some of it and maybe use it in the club system too. So again, more kids are getting access to this kind of stuff. It's a huge piece right now. All of the major academies, all of the major pro clubs use video analysis to help their players. If we're going to really start calling ourselves a performance-based operation and hopefully get our clubs to that standard too, then we have to be willing to start to use this stuff. So I'm going to quickly go on to the Excel program, and then you can fire questions at me. And I'll run through this one a bit quicker. So we want your kids, if they're not already in there, to go from there to there. That's our aim, as well as getting them into a showcase university or college. Just an idea of what an Excel program is, and they'll have 4 to 5 days on field every day with 3 strength and conditioning sessions a week that will be personalised to them, based on them. Maybe they're aerobically not doing very well, maybe they're not very strong. They have their own personalised program. And they'll get 1 11-a-side game bi-weekly. This is what some of your kids probably have aspirations to be in. All athletes in Rex and in Whitecaps will get the Canadian Sports Centre Atlantic services. In the past that wasn't the case, only the Ignite players got it. So we want to make sure again, if you're that select few, that you are getting the strength and conditioning, the nutrition, the mental skills. The only service that the Ignite players will get, and Ignite, I don't want to bore you with it, it's kids that are in high school, their academic schedule is adjusted to meet this program. So that the teachers will provide them wiggle room and homework in different ways so that they can meet their criteria. Okay. All games again will be coded. In the Whitecaps, 100% will be with VidSwap. In Rex, 75% will. And the 25% will be using GameBreaker. You probably don't know what GameBreaker is. Again, you probably don't care. So we'll not talk about it. But it's a different tool. And the reason why the Rex is going to do it is because Canada Soccer are always looking for video techs. So if we just send this off to VidSwap and they do it for us, we're not developing video techs that can maybe go and work at the national team. So if we have 25%, maybe we'll have a staff member go and work for the national team for a World Cup or something. We're trying to partner with Dalhousie, and that's obviously a link through Cindy Tai, so that those players will have physio available to them every time they train, which has not been the case. So if you have an injured player, they just sit there, bored out their mind for 90 minutes. They'll actually have somebody working with them. Okay. Player feedback and match statistics will be provided as it kind of has been already. If you're a player and you're in the Excel stream, you may even be identified as a HPP player. So now we're talking 1 or 2 kids, maybe 3, 4. What is a HPP player? Well, they'll be invited to Vancouver in November at their family's expense if they choose to obviously go, where they will be basically on trial to see if they can get in the Super Rex, which is in Vancouver where Tenny Akindoju is currently at, and then if any of the boys can stay in the Whitecaps residency program. It's been a problem. They've only done it once a year, and let's be honest, you ain't going to send your kid to Vancouver based on one 4 or 5 day trip. And I'm sure the Super Rex and Vancouver Whitecaps aren't going to invest in your child based on one 4 or 5 day trip. So what they've decided to do, and they put their money where their mouth is, if you do well there, they'll invite you back for these and they'll pay. So they're trying to find out which kids are the right fit. Okay. You'll notice here, this is an important piece. We are going to take a group still to Vancouver in March. Some of your kids went this year. We're going to do it again next year, but it's not the provincial program. It's going to be kids that are in either Whitecaps and Rex, but because we're not going to take too many young ones, they'll be subsidised based on us looking for kids in the provincial program that are maybe close to being in the Whitecaps or Rex. They don't have a full invite. Maybe they've come in on trial for two weeks or a month. But we think, you know what, I think they're close, or the coach thinks they're close, and they'll be basically invited. It's going to be an all-star 13, 14 team that go. Again, you can decline the opportunity. All right?
Sorry, who is that?
Family. Intake is going to be aligned with school terms, but players will be regularly invited into the program. So I'll speak more so on the boys' side. Because we're only taking 16 or 18, we have room to take 2-3 kids every single month, or every 2 weeks, all right, for a tryout. So maybe we start seeing that a kid starts to spike through the provincial program. We're watching them in 11 aside. I think we're going to bring that kid in for 2 weeks. Maybe after 2 weeks, we send them back for 2 weeks, still doing well. Maybe we bring them in for a month. So there's now a motivational chip on the table. Okay, whereas before it felt kind of closed. You're in until this program finished. We don't want that to be the case. Many reasons. If you're a kid that's in the program and you know that you're in until the program's finished, you get comfortable. Yeah, we don't want them to be comfortable. We want somebody literally nails scraping the shirt off their back. Replace them, because competition will breed competition. Okay. Release, we'll try and align it with school term if necessary. Reason for that is we have to be sensitive to rural kids. If rural kids have moved, you know, we've got to be careful with that. We can't have them moving all the way down here and then binning them after a certain time, so we've got to be careful. An example of what a week might look at Rex or Whitecaps, so you might have, and it says 3 o'clock, when we say the session starts at 3:30, we say 3 so that families can at least start to get their kids out of school at 3, all right? But yeah, on Monday, 3:30, Tuesday, they might be at 6:30 in the morning. That's an example of the girls, okay? So the girls will have one morning session. The boys are having no morning sessions. If they have a morning session, they'll have weights at 3:30. If they don't have a morning session, some days they might have weights in the morning before school. Now, you might be full-time in the program, but your school's all the way out on the other side of the bridge. You can't come to the weights. So maybe we can have a relationship with a gym of some kind, either on that side of the bridge or here, where they can do it. And there are options for that, okay? The other thing is you might just decline the weights. It's just not, you don't want to come all the way over here, traffic, and then try and get them all the way back. The reason why the weights is obviously offered in the mornings is because most of the kids that are in the program usually go to Halifax West. So we're talking about the majority. They walk, literally they get dropped off, they go to the gym, they walk up the hill, they go and do school, they leave, they walk across the road, they do their session, they're done. At 5 o'clock, they're done. They go and do the schoolwork, they go and be a teenager, they socialise, all right? It's actually a better schedule than if you're in the club environment, because you could be going till 9 o'clock, right? Why the changes? Why are we trying to push towards a full-time system? Well, the feedback we got from Canada Soccer and the Whitecaps was, you got good players. How often do you train? Well, boys, we were like 3 times a week. Yeah, I can see why we were just not there. They're not on a level playing field with the rest of the kids that are in the country. They're going 5 days a week. They've got these services. You've got 3 days a week. Unless they're literally special, it ain't gonna happen for them. You have to put the work in. Okay, and we want to obviously align with Canada Soccer and the Vancouver Whitecaps. Whew. Okay. I'll take questions. I'll say before you throw the questions, there's going to be bumps in the road. There are going to be bumps in the road. There are things that we may have not got right, but I can tell you it's not been a decision that's just been made over a coffee or over a couple of beers. It's been a process for us. Okay.